Hello everyone. Welcome to Pikes Peak. It is Sunday, August 18th, 2024. I am starting this video about halfway up the mountain because the video is so long. And so I tried to cut out as much as I could. But this little building up here is about halfway, and it's a mandatory brake check for everyone coming down the mountain. They check the temperature of the brakes. If they're too hot, they make them wait until they can cool down. That's the little building there. But this was the Sunday, like I said, right after Brandon had done his iron butt on Saturday. So he got in about 10:30 Saturday night and was very tired. But got up the next morning. We had our timed entry into Pikes Peak was at noon, so that gave him a little bit of time, but he was pretty sore at this point, and I was proud of him for making the effort and doing this. This trip up Pikes Peak turned out to be a little bit more technical and difficult than we were anticipating. Not so much because it was difficult on the bikes, it was the vehicles in front of us. Cars can slow down to almost a stop on a tight curve, but motorcycles need to have their forward momentum going all the time or they'll fall over. So if you're going just a few miles an hour, it's you have to put your feet down to balance. The problem is when it's so steep like this, your feet don't touch down on the ground where you can support the bike. So it's very difficult for a motorcycle to go that slow around the curves. What we started doing is just laying back and giving just a lot of room to the people in front because they were slowing down so much on these curves. There was quite a few people there, as you'll see, and so we had to go very, very slow. And that's one of the reasons why this is such a long video. Feel free to go up into settings and watch this at double time. It would be much more fun than the slow pace that we're riding. Or just fast forward and just watch different parts. But here's one of those tight turns that pretty steep uphill. At that time, these guys didn't slow down too badly, but we would have liked to have been able to go a little bit faster, so we wouldn't have had to have the challenge of balancing the bikes so much. The ride was cool when we were going up. It was warm at the bottom of the mountain. When we got to the top, I think it was in the high 40s, but after such a challenging ride going up, we appreciated the cool air and the cool breezes. It was quite windy as we got up to the top. But you can see even from this angle, there are some pretty steep drop-offs on the side. I think it was Brandon that at one point said don't turn right because it was such a big drop-off there. Also, one thing I wanted to tell you is going up, I just have my front view camera working. I actually had on a selfie stick sticking out the back my 360-degree camera that you could really see the views with, and I could turn the camera and look at those views. But when we got to the top of the mountain, Brandon said, "Oh, you never took your lens cover off your camera." So I had a black video of my 360 all the way going up. So enjoy this front-facing part going up. On the way down, I was able to remember to take off the lens cap basically and have a little bit better video coming down. So if you would like to just skip the going up part and get to the part where we're coming down, it might be a little bit more enjoyable or pleasing to watch. Please note though, since my 360 camera was on a selfie stick sticking out the back, it was bouncing quite a bit. So even though these cameras will keep the horizon level, it looks like I'm jumping up and down on my bike when I'm coming down. So just you might not be able to watch it because that will affect you. But this is one of those steep edges. As you can see, there's a pretty good drop off. The views are just incredible. You can just see for miles and miles and miles. And it was, as you can see, an overcast day, but we were so lucky talking to people up there. Evidently, a lot of the time, the clouds come down and just completely cover the top of the mountain, and you're just driving in fog and really can't see a whole lot. The weather does change quickly there. There was some rain coming in from one side, they said to watch out for. But overall, we could see pretty clearly, even though there was a cloud cover. As you can see, pretty quickly we got above the tree line here, and it amazes me, and especially when you watch the video when we're coming down, how long or how far we've come down, or how far we at this point we're going up, or how far we've gone up, and it just looks like you're in an airplane looking out an airplane window over the side. We're just so far up, and it just keeps going up and up and up. When we're coming down, the same thing. It just looks like an airplane window, and you'll watch for 5 minutes and think, good grief, they're still way, way up in the air. But Pikes Peak is 14,115 feet tall. It was named for Zebulon Pike. He had an expedition out there, and basically he just called it highest peak. This was the highest peak, and that's what he named it. So everybody started saying, well, this that mountain was Pike's highest peak. That was what he wrote about, and it just got shortened over the years to Pikes Peak instead of Pike's highest peak. But it is called America's Mountain. And there's a lot of people, as you can see, that drive up this road. And I think it was I'll have to double check, 1911 or so. I'm sorry, it was not it was in July of 1893 when Catherine Lee Bates wrote the song America the Beautiful after she had been to the top of Pikes Peak. And that's another reason, I guess, why they called America's Mountain. But when you see the views from the top, it is majestic, and the words seem to are properly written for the feeling you get when you look at these amazing views. A little personal story to tell you is that when my mother and father, Jean Ray Butts and Charlotte Butts, were a young couple, they rode with one of their friends out west, drove with one of their friends out west. Of course, my dad would always drive. But this was when Pikes Peak Road was not paved, and they went up Pikes Peak and down. And my mother said that, of course, my dad had just gotten back from World War II and was a bit of a daredevil, and always thought he was a good driver and would drive fast. but she said that there were no guardrails, of course, as you can see here, and that the road was dirt, and he would slide the car sideways, what everybody calls drifting now. She said all the way up the mountain and all the way down the mountain, and she said that it just scared her so badly that she was in the floorboard the whole time and never got to see any of the views from out the car windows because she was so scared and stayed on the floorboard of the car. I don't know if they were available when my mother and father went up there, but everyone that drives to the top or hikes or rides the Cog Railroad always goes into the shop and gets one of the famous donuts, or more than one actually. But they're the only donuts in the world that are actually made above 14,000 feet. They have a donut robot that makes them, and it puts out like 700 donuts per hour, and that's like 6,000 donuts a day that they sell up there. And the recipe is a top secret, obviously, because it's optimized for the high altitude, and the thinner the air means the lower air pressure, which means lower boiling point of water. And so what they say is if you try to take the donuts to a low elevation, they'll collapse and all their fluffiness is gone. And so the only place you can really enjoy a Pikes Peak donut is at the top of Pikes Peak. My granddaughter Abilene challenged me to bring half of one down to see what would happen, and it did change consistently, change the consistency of it, although it might have been helped because my saddlebags were already overpacked and I kind of had to shove it in there. So maybe that wasn't a good scientific experiment to make sure that's what happens to them. But if you ever do go to the top of Pikes Peak, they are good donuts. And we also put some pictures of those donuts in this video that you can see. But I hope you like this video. Like I said, if it gets a little bit too long and boring, please watch it at double speed or fast forward through. Watching at double speed actually doesn't affect the matrix that YouTube uses at all. They don't care how fast you watch the video, but I hope you do enjoy watching these videos. Like I said, the trip down's a little bit more interesting than what this trip up is, but hopefully you can kind of see what the trip up Pikes Peak is. And I think if any of you are ever interested in going up there, it's not a difficult trip in a car at all. And like I said, I don't think it would be on a motorcycle either if there wasn't anybody else around, but there's a lot of people around. It does get chilly. Don't forget to take a sweater or jacket with you when you get to the top. But I hope you're enjoying these videos. I'm trying to get more and more of them out. I hope they don't bore you to death, but hopefully you can see some of the views. The camera doesn't do it justice, obviously, because you can just see forever, it seems like, up there, and it feels like you really are on top of the world. But if you do like these videos, please don't forget to put in a like, and you can always make comments also. I'd love to hear comments on any of these videos. And don't forget to check Brandon's channel, Action Motorcycles, out. He will be putting up some videos. Some of them might be a little bit redundant, but he had his own cameras. He's much more professional than I am, and his videos are always much more interesting and framed better, and seems like a professional movie that you're watching when he does it. I'm just putting these videos up just to keep the memories alive in my mind. Also, like I said earlier, you might have to adjust the quality on these videos because for some reason they keep coming into lower quality. But I hope you like this video, like I said, and I will talk to you again on the next video.